We are back with more 4coder Friday, and I've got a new to-do list. It's not super long, but, there it is. So our first thing is there's a pretty serious bug that I'm going to deal with. Let me close down this. Okay. Start up this. Alright, so the bug is this. When I launch here, I can get into this annoying situation. Let me pull up something like this here. I guess I was testing. Oh, this is where I stuffed the, right, okay. So, now let me pick a different file. I want one that's, I would actually prefer a generated file in this case. Let's look at command metadata. Okay. So, one other curiosity. Yeah, okay. So, the situation is, I've fixed a bug in Windows that doesn't allow, that prevented 4coder from looking at remote directories, basically. It didn't fully prevent you from looking at a remotely shared directory, it just prevented you from using any of the paths that start with that as a root, whether they be subs directories or UNC paths. They would all fail. The only way it wouldn't fail is if you had the non-subs path to the remote directory. So, I fixed that problem, but in fixing that, it introduced a new problem where the canonicalization of paths doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So, what I'm doing here is I'm going to try to find a way to recreate this. So I'm loading a project, I have metadata open, then I build. Let me just check. No, that did not trigger the issue. Okay. So, my theory has been that what's causing this is if I go like this, new file.cpp, hello world. Right? Only trouble is that doesn't actually seem to have been included by anything, and maybe I need that so that it'll give me an error or something. So I'm going to go into default include and try including 4coder generated / new file.cpp. Again, this isn't real 4coder code, this is a test bed that is set up to catch issues. Okay. So yeah, I haven't been able to recreate it yet. Okay, that's working just fine, and that's frustrating because I know that this bug happens once in a while. I'm just not sure what the repro case needs to be. So what else can I try? It's not when I create a new file and then jump to it for the first time. Is it when I create a new file, and then save it? No. Alright. Nothing. Maybe what I need is to trigger that first. That all worked. I'm not sure if I know the repro case that I need. Get out of here. Mictor, new test, new project, build target main.cpp, output directory, build output binary, new test, new test.cpp, main.cpp, int main, return, return 0, printf, hello world, include standard IO. Grr. Alright, well, as long as I can't reproduce it, what I'm gonna do is say what could it be? New file right now. Boom. And still no issues at all. Okay, yeah, I'm out of ideas, so what we're going to do is I'm going to say, instead of trying to repro this way, I'm going to package the current system and then the current build and then run on that all the time and see if I can hit a repro case while I'm using it more like heavily. How's the stream look? Are you guys seeing any issues? Because I see a couple dropped frames, not very many, but I'm wondering if I need to cut down the bitrate or something. Alright, so, give me a minute. Do, do, do. Alright. Alright. Alright, so we're running off of the newest, freshest build, and hopefully if there's still some kind of problem, I will have proof by the end of the day that there's a problem, and then I won't waste my whole time trying to find something that isn't there if it's not there. Alright, so the next thing on my list is I want to look at, this is going to be kind of tricky, but I want to try to look at View UI. In particular, I want to look at well, you know what, I'm actually just going to look for all occurrences of the word up, because key code why does that get set in 3 different locations? Oh, that's just up 3 different times. Okay. Nope. Alright. Let's keep looking for key up somewhere around here. I guess I didn't delete that code. Should have done. Oh well. Key up, key up, key up, key up. User up key. GUI standard list. User up key. List I, begin list. Right, okay. So we're checking if it's up or down. And then we're doing that. How do we clamp it? Well, let's find out. You can do this in a pretty easy way. Okay, so now it's -1. Oh, is it? It's optimized. Let me run this to get a debug build again. Now let's try that again. Alright, so list I becomes -1. Pop in here, and we go do. transient.listI. Okay, let's keep watching. I'm gonna put what? Oh, right. Put that there to keep an eye on it. Alright, so eventually it gets set back to 0. So let's do this. We can clearly see that right now it's -1. By the time we get back to there, it'll be 0, so someone must be setting it. Here's its address. It will break right there. Begin list, update. Where did this update come from? I don't see it. How could it have an adjustment? When we're looking at it right here, we can clearly see that it's not. Oh, okay, so here's where we get the update and then we pass it in here. Okay. We begin list. Okay, so this call, how does it fill the update? Okay. Alright, so let's just try this. If list I is less than list min, Okay, this is not the right way to do this, but it's a way to do it. What I really want to do here is some kind of modulo mathematics that I have to think through. Alright, let's think about this. If list I is less than list min, then how far below are we? Or offset, or yeah, outs. I don't know what to even call it, but basically list min minus list I that's like the negative that's the roll down, I guess. Now list max minus the roll down, if that is if that were 5 and that were 3, we would get a 2 there. If that is 0 and that's negative 2, we would get a 2 there. Great. Then what we want to do is take that so that's a positive number. If I take that modulo, yeah, list max minus list min, so this gives me a positive number, and then this gives me the length of the usable range, and then list max minus roll down is the answer. And that's not allowed to equal list max, right? So if list max is 5, and this is 0, this becomes modulo 5, we would get a number between 0 and 4, which means we really want yeah. Okay, so think this through again. We have some range. We find out our roll down by taking how far down below min we were. We modulo that into the range that we care about. There we go. Okay, so if list I is greater than or equal to list max, then what we want to do is say, find out how much our, we're going to want range size again, first of all. And there's the roll over, which is going to be list I minus list max, modulo the range size. And then all of that will become list min plus roll over. Alright, there we go. That one's done. Alright. And let me just double check. But you can get out of here. Uh-oh. No, okay, nothing bad happened. Okay, looked like that maybe I had an internet issue, but I guess not. It was just Twitch chat being messed up. Alright, so, I have the list wrap. I want to do... Right, the first thing I want to do is check to see if I have... No. Okay. Previous search memory. How do I want to do that? Okay, so here we go. I search, and then query init. What? What does the plus equals 2 mean? Yeah, I'm not sure I know why that's there. Plus equals 2. Just remember something else I want to fix. Okay, query init. Tell me what query init is for. Okay, that's what I would have expected. Okay, what on earth? Why does it say position plus equals 2? It doesn't really make any sense, right? Okay, I'm gonna say that that's bogus, right? Alright, so this works, even though it's got that weird position plus equals 2 thing. I'm going to build it without that and see if it still works. Weird. Okay, so it does actually matter. And I'm gonna need someone to explain to me why. So reverse. I'm searching forward, then right, look at this. So if I'm for searching forward, which is how it's knitting, take start position plus 1. Now start position right here is set to that minus 1. Jeez, oh Pete's, this is kind of a disaster. Step backward. Reverse equals true. Oh, okay. So I say whether I want to step forward or backward. But if I want to step backward and I'm not reversing, step backward equals true. If this is not the first step, size does not equal 0, and step backward is true, We reverse. Okay. So, I kind of vaguely understand why this is this way, and I don't really feel like fixing all of this code, so I'm going to leave this way, even though it's ridiculous. Okay. So now the question is, what do I want to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, Jeremiah, welcome to the stream, and hello, Relvit. Welcome as well. Alright, so what we're going to do here today is I want to say if I can find a good way, I want to be able to pull these queries out from here to initialize, and then I want to say how am I going to pick the actual text. At each step we have an incoming character. If we see one of those, we break. We append the character in this case. Control index, then change equals true, string size equals 0, backspace equals true. Alright, so that should let me do a full wipeout of that if there is text there that I don't want, but I still want to be able to so down here is where it actually does searches based on that. Okay, so what we're going to do is yeah, I guess if I go to the framework variables, I want something like previous iSearch query. There we go. Let's have that init to 0 at first. And then this can become make string slowly, or actually let's do string make string okay, cap which would be this, followed by query length, followed by the size of that, and query length can be string length, cster length, string.h len length, make string slowly stir size. Desperately need to update my string library to a more consistent naming scheme. Get user input. Alright, so there we go. I don't get why it's not saving that. Oh, I see. Let's do that then. Okay. Alright, we have implemented this at least. I have to actually think about whether I want to put it in there. So I'm going to use it for a little while and see if I like it better. Alright, so let me I'm going to package up 4coder again and start working with that build so that I have that new iSearch in there and see how I feel about that. Alright, let's see if that package is done. Okay, it's ready. So I'm going to just update real quick. Update my build super real quick. Alright, so now I want to look at... Okay, let's look at 4coder experiments. Rasmus 0501 asks, "Hi, is it possible for the user to create a mini-map with the current public API in 4coder?" No, not really. Um, so the closest you could get is you could make a very small I guess yes is actually the answer. But what it wouldn't do particularly well is keeping your minimap in sync with your actual position in the scroll in the view anyway. That would be the hardest part probably. You'd probably find some cases where you can't keep those synced. Um, and it wouldn't be very smooth for sure, because you'd end up having to create like whoops, I didn't mean to close that. You'd end up having to create like a side panel like this, right? And then set it to have a really small font, and then put your buffer in there, and then just keep it scrolled how you want or something. Like you'd have to keep it scrolled, and you wouldn't really be able to indicate in here where you're viewing, except maybe with the cursor and mark. It'd be a very rough approximation, so I'm going to say no. Not really. Alright, so we start grabbing search matches. Right, so of course that wouldn't work. Yeah. Um, all very old, lame style code. Jim asks, "What's the current objective?" Alright, so I will recap. I'm currently working on the replace all procedure in 4coder experiments. Overall, I'm just doing various tweaks and things to move small things forward that I have in my to-do list. I've already worked out the big thing that I announced yesterday. We've put that to bed after about the first hour, luckily. Alright, so here's why this is kind of difficult. So I have this up here generating target positions, and each target position is a buffer ID and a start position. Those start positions are measured before any edits are made, and then we actually use those start positions down here to make edits. Now, if you think this through, as soon as I make the first edit, all the other start positions will be incorrect. So, I need to do one of several possible things to correct for this. One thing I could do would be to compute in here when I get a match start. I also have a total offset that I add to it, which is the total amount of shifted that the text will be at this point. But the hard part, as you can see here, is that I'm iterating through multiple buffers. Once I finish with one buffer, I have to restart thinking about that for the next buffer. The other things I could do are I could down here do the shifting, right? I can use these start positions and say we're recording the original start positions, but we're actually going to compute the shifts as we go through down here. Basically has the same problem that we have to have a guarantee that the buffers are coming in order if that's going to work. Finally, if we guarantee that these are always starting at always coming out in such a way that the higher start values come after lower start values, we could just do it in the reverse order and then that would work. There's one other thing we could do. Ooh, but it's kind of, no, we can't do that. I was going to say we could edit these while we're iterating, but we can't do that either. And since this API is such ass, I don't feel like any of the simpler things that I can obviously think of will actually be that good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say that we assume the buffer IDs come in order. In groups. And from top to bottom. Alright, let's see if that does it. Whoops, that's not going to work. I gotta make sure I'm using... No, build.cpp custom experiments. I can already tell you I'm not going to keep the search change as the standard. I have a different idea of how I'll make it work, though. Jim, that's right. I didn't end up doing a preprocessor. I decided it was better to use the compiler's preprocessor. I hadn't thought of that just because I was thinking of how to solve the problem from the C++ code, but when it occurred to me that I could just use the do the same thing. Basically, I was going to simulate the preprocessor perfectly, and then it occurred to me the only reason I'm thinking about doing it this way is because it's sort of slightly a custom use of the preprocessor, but I can actually invoke the preprocessor. I know how to do that. So why would I write a new one when all I need is to use the exact something that behaves in exactly the same way as the existing one? No point. Alright, let's see if that works. Alright, this one's looking like it worked. Oh man. Yep, this totally worked. Alright. I'm gonna go make changes to the iSearch thing again. The scroll is enabled in the theme view, so if you scroll while the theme is selected, the view is messed up. Sorry, so I'm here on clean all lines. Scroll up and down. I'm talking about like right here. I'm not seeing any issue. What are you talking about? Are you talking about that? Okay. Now there's kind of serious bug in here that I was just noticing. Some work on that real quick, which is this: if we have why does it want to step backward? It's because we have oh. Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about, Valbus. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand, but I can't tell if you're talking about selecting one of these, because there's always one of these selected, so I don't know what you mean by having one of them selected. And if you're coming in here, then, I mean, that also doesn't, I mean, I don't see any issues happening there either, and I'm not sure where the problem is supposed to show up. Is it affecting this view here? Is it affecting something else? I don't know. So make a video that'll help me understand what you're talking about. Okay. So when I do something like that, that's the idea. Okay. Okay, so let me try. Oops. I'm gonna try this again, so I can do that, and that works. I can do that, and now I can just do that to go boom, 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 boom. Sweet. Okay, that's better. Let me upgrade to that again. Uh-oh. I'm hitting some kind of issue here. Okay. Compressing. Current dist super. Okay, so something about package isn't working. When it goes to build the non-super, it's not getting the metadata correctly. Okay, so what I have to do is when I'm doing build.cpp package, build main. There we go. Okay, so now I have the newest 4coder version set up. Let me just, one last step, switch over to 4coder experiment. Boom. Boom. Okay, now we're good to go. Okay, so now I want to go to the project commands and do some stuff here. Alright, let's get some stuff done. No more dilly-dallying on the internet communications, although I guess I should pop the Discord open. I haven't been there in a while. Okay, yep, a lot of notifications for me here. Not sure why I didn't get emailed, but oh well. Okay, yeah, so let's go look at, over here, exec project fkey command. Okay, well, hold on. Alright, so there's the project, and so yeah, so what we want to do is we want to say project command exec project command fkey app links app. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. Alright, so there's another thing done. So now with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and catch up on Discord real quick. Alright, so a couple things here on this chat. For one, I need to respond to Alright, 4coder, the question is, do you try to do dynamic frame rates or are you just V-synced as an optimization to save resources on static screens? And the answer is that 4coder does not redraw constantly. It sleeps and waits for events. It blocks on it waits for an input event to process. When it is animating something like smooth scrolling or text fade, it behaves like a game loop at a fixed 60 FPS, but when the animation is done, it goes back to sleep until an input event wakes it up again. Alright, so there's that part. I'm not making a renderer built into the. You know, I'm gonna bring this chat. I don't know if I should. Let me do a few things. Oh, we got the video that I was waiting for from Valbus. Perfect. So let me do some things. Do. Alright, let me check out this video. I can't check out this video. Yeah, sorry. Gonna have to wait for it to finish processing or something, I don't know. Alright, now, questions from Martin Cohen. I'm working on a general purpose syntax highlighting library for editors, and I'm in a process of doing performance tests. Would love to ask a few questions. Answers would help me have a good reference point. I've heard your parser for C, C++ is well optimized. Okay. So, from Martin's first question, do you use UTF-8 for memory storage? Yeah, I convert everything into UTF-8, or I actually don't have many converters. I think I can do UTF-8 only right now, actually. But everything is stored in UTF-8 and then it's converted in and out is the basic plan. But all I'm really doing on that conversion in and out right now is stripping carriage returns and stuff like this, and inserting them on the save. If you download, okay. I'm going to take a quick look at my Lexer library to remember the name and how to call the simplest there we go. Lex file. CPP token array equals CPP make token array CPP lex file data size array. Alright, there we go. Alright, trying the video again. Let's take a peek. Okay, so you can scroll there. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't understand what the problem is still. I mean, I can see that you're scrolling there. Is that, do you think that's the problem, that you can scroll there? Because that's intentional. Yeah, if you'll have to tell me what you think in this video is the problem. This being able to scroll is intentional. I would need to make this smaller, but yeah, that's supposed to happen. Alright, so, okay, so finally, one more person to answer. Is it possible to implement a terminal, alright, could you implement a terminal? I think you could probably do a decent terminal. Alright, there we go. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go to, okay, back to project.commands. So that's good, and now we're going to do something else. So I want to look at the command, or just the operating system matching stuff. Here we go. Alright, it's getting too bright for me to use the dark background anymore. I need to switch. Alright, now, right there. Okay. So what I want to do is we're going to go to here, parse project version 1, os match. And the way this will work is it'll take in string 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 os if there's a match between string and this os string, return true. If there's a match between string and all, return true. And here's the thing, I'm gonna actually switch this over to just being like project os match result code level. Passive match, active match. There we go. Project os match level. Project os match level. Active match. Active match. Passive match. No match. Okay, so now I want to reconsider this code here a little bit. Everything under config, use this option. I'm going to actually rewrite a little. It's going to say found match equals false. Right, so it needs to know about that. Perfect. So then, what we do is we get the paths, we see if we can match, and we go, okay. If that happens, then we found a match equals true, and the best paths equals paths. And then we break. Else, if it's just a passive match, Then if we have not already found a match, we set that we found the match and we have the best paths. So we'll take the first passive match, unless we find an active match. The first active match, we take it immediately. If we find a passive match, we set that and lock that in as the passive match, but we don't use it unless we get to the end without finding an active match. Okay. Compile. Okay. Again. Okay. Alright, we're going to want to test that one. So, okay, so if this is working, I can, by the way, I'm going to close this now. If this is working, I can do this. So load project. Build super not possible. So that came through there. I guess I can't tell if it came through here. So what I'm going to add is a foo bar right there, because I forgot to do that. Okay, cool. So up here we saw that all matched over default. Here we saw that default worked when Linux didn't. So, 'cause I forgot to do that. would consider that successful. Okay, so here's the situation we're in now. We just spent this entire time working on various iterations of the newest 4coder state, like the newest state of the 4coder. So, in all that time I never saw once the messed up paths problem. So it might be that the messed up paths problem actually has been solved, and that when I saw it as a bug, or when I thought I was seeing that bug, it was actually because I was running a build that was not fully up to date or something. But I will put a tentative question mark on that spot for now, since I haven't been able to recreate it. And I now have everything else on this to-do list checked off. Take a look. See this? It's all been checked. So, I think now is a pretty good time to wrap up this stream. I'll take a little break, try to come up with something else to work on next. I could just go ahead and start planning to ship the build right now, I suppose, but I'm not sure that's what I want to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to think out what needs to happen next, and I will be back when I have some answers. See you in a bit. Bye.